Hello, my name is Ayann'ah Baptiste, and today I will be discussing Henry Ford's technological contributions in the early 20th century. Born on July 30th, 1863, on a family farm near Dearborn, Michigan, Henry Ford showed an early inclination towards mechanical things, tinkering and building. At the age of 16, after finishing school, he left to work in Detroit, gaining experience in machine shops for nearly a decade. In 1888, Henry Ford married Clara Jane Bryant, who bore him a son, Edsel Ford, and with the motivation from his family and wife, Henry Ford was able to continue through many trials and errors. Henry Ford would find success after his third company at the age of 40, the Ford Motor Company, on June 16, 1903. Education. Henry Ford has spent his youth and adulthood learning and adapting his skills through school and careers for several decades, such as completing a 3-year apprenticeship at the Detroit Dry Dock Company, taking business courses at the Goldsmith Bryant and Stratton Business University, studying typewriting, bookkeeping, and mechanical drawings to improve himself, working at the James Flower and Brothers, a foundry and machine shop, and working as an engineer with Edison Illuminating Company in 1891. Technological inventions. Prior to Henry Ford, there were several technological inventions that had contributed to the automotive industry. Steam-powered vehicles. French Nicolas Joseph Cugnot designed a steam automobile in 1770 meant to transport artillery that ran on 3 wheels. U.S. inventor Oliver Evans built a self-propelled steam dredge called the Erector Amphibious that could travel under steam power both on land and water. It was regarded as the first self-propelled vehicle to operate over U.S. roads. Internal combustion engine. In 1860, French inventor Étienne Lénard developed a 2-stroke engine that burned illuminating gas, the first practical engine. In 1885, German engineer Carl Benz created the motor wagon, the first 4-stroke gasoline engine car to move under its own power on an open road, and became the first commercially available automobile. Vehicles. Vermont blacksmith Thomas Davenport constructed in 1834 the world's first electric motor carriage. The motor carriage, built in 1893 by brothers Charles E. and J. Frank Duryea from Springfield, Massachusetts, was considered America's first successful automobile. Bicycle. The modernization of this semi-mechanized form of transportation contributed much to the development of the automobile, such as chain drive, ball and roller bearings, differential gear, and steel tube framing all came from the bicycle. Advancements that inspired French engineers, leaders in the early automotive movement, to think about car mechanism. Henry Ford's Model T. The Model T's basis was the Model N, every part of which, except for the dual braking system, Ford sought to improve and actively worked on the model, insisting, goading, and guiding his team. With 50% of it made from vanadium steel, which was stronger, lighter, and more resistant to corrosion, the Model T was a 5-passenger touring car instead of the 2-passenger runabout as the Model N was, although they both weighed 1,200 pounds. The Model T was designed with a body high off the ground so it could deal with the muddy, rutted roads that were commonplace at the time. The Model T was the first ordinary production car to feature left-hand steering. The T engine contained several innovations such as the motor flywheel, a rotating device that stored energy and had 16 magnets on it, and transmissions were enclosed together, allowing for shared lubrication systems. On March 19, 1908, the first ad for the 5-passenger, 4-cylinder, 20-horsepower touring car, and its amazingly affordable $850 price was met with praise with 15,000 orders placed in a matter of days. Seeking a universal car in 1910, prices of the Model T nosedived from $780 down to $360 between 1910 and 1916. Sales increased from about 20,000 to nearly 600,000. Profits rose from $4.1 million in calendar year 1910 to $57.1 million in fiscal year 1916. Manufacturing. To meet manufacturing needs, Henry Ford hired Albert Kahn, the leading architect of automobile factories, to design him a plant. The Crystal Palace was a four-storied, 865-foot-long, 75-floor-wide building with huge windows in every wall and an enormous glass roof. Henry Ford wanted a glass structure to eliminate waste movement. With lots of light in a building, you could put machines closer together and operations take up less time. He also wanted to provide better ventilation for the workers, increasing their general wealth and well-being. Henry Ford is often credited with establishing the first assembly line, a manufacturing technique in which a product is carried by some form of mechanized conveyor among stations for his Model T. Social impact. The Model T was transforming the motor car from a rich and middleman's prerogative to a utilitarian commodity for everyone. Between 1908 and 1927, 15 million cars were produced, and at that time, 1 out of every 2 American cars was a Model T. In less than 2 decades, this model completely changed the lives of the population. The Model T was a revolutionary development in rural areas. Farms embarked on mechanization and came out of their isolation, as the Model T not only transported the farmer's family into town, but also allowed them to take their products to markets. It enabled faster delivery of goods and services for doctors, carriers, and small businessmen. It also altered the landscape as the number of cars on the roads necessitated the development of infrastructures, such as petrol stations, car parks, motels, and new tourist attractions. Believing that every man had the right to work and to participate equally in the economic benefits of his labor, Ford hired all men, including the ill, disabled, the criminal, the intelligent, the unschooled, those who cannot speak English, and women. On January 5, 1914, Henry Ford announced a $5 day for 8 hours of work, shocking business leaders throughout the country. By the summer of 1914, around 70% of his workers received the $5 wages. Home values of Ford workers increased 900% in the 2 years after the beginning of 1914, and the amount of home equities and bank accounts combined rose from 196 to 750. Interesting facts. During one of Henry Ford's machine trials, he was issued the first driver's license in the United States by longtime family friend and mayor of Detroit, William C. Mayberry. To fund his companies, Ford depended on motor car racing as a source of revenue and a way to ensure his reputation. After resigning from his second company in 1902, it fell into the hands of Henry M. Leland, who would establish the Cadillac Company and become one of the greatest successes in the automotive history. The United States in the early 20th century was a period of advancement in the humanities and sciences. Henry Ford's dedication to machines has created breakthroughs of the century, redefining the automobile and business industry.